Welcome back to the Florida Man TV, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to be talking about Russel Brand and how he is a fucking maroon. Basically, Russel Brand is a fucking idiot. He has been on YouTube for like 10 years. He's a comedian. I think he makes music. Nothing that he does is like of quality. But for some reason, he has had a career for a decade now in entertainment, but he's a fucking moron with no talent. And I find that to be an enigma. But today we're going to be talking about the fact that he has recently gone down a bit of a rabbit hole, a bit of a Charlie Kirk, Alex Jones type rabbit hole. The man has turned into a political pundit. He is spinning conspiracy theories on his YouTube channel every other fucking day about COVID and about fucking Hillary Clinton and about Ukraine. Oh my god. Russel Brand's Ukraine coverage has been some of the most despicable shit I've ever seen. He has just been sitting there talking about how it's like NATO and America's fault. I fucking hate Russel Brand. Yeah, we're going to be talking about how Russel Brand is a uncultured moron, even though he's a millionaire who has traveled the world, and I find that to be a perplexing enigma. Before we get too deep into it, let me mention today, of course, the official beverage of the Florida Man TV. Not sponsored, but I would take a sponsorship in a heartbeat. The official drink of the Florida Man TV. We're going to be watching a few of Russel Brand's videos. We're going to go down a rabbit hole. I have a few videos selected from when his channel started about a decade ago, about 9.5, nearly 10 years ago, to a couple videos that are more like 5-6 years ago, and then a bunch of his recent videos where he turns into this conspiracy pundit fucking retard. And basically the goal of this segment is to teach all of you that Russel Brand is a fucking moron, in case you didn't know. Don't listen to a word that Russel Brand ever says, because the man has no idea what he's talking about fucking anything. Other than like heroin use, the man knows a lot about drugs. I'm sure he knows how to cook up a great injectable cocktail, but that's about it for his useful knowledge. And we're going to start with, very interestingly, 9 years ago by Russel Brand, Russia. Should we be scared of Putin? Russel Brand travel news. This is when Russel Brand was traveling in Europe, and apparently he really wanted to, he was very concerned about Putin's regime and the influence it was having in Eastern Europe. He's not a fan of Putin in this video, so I'm just going to let this play for like a minute. Let you guys see what you think. It's the truth.
The truth.
Thank you, Russell.
It's called The Truth. It's true news. Already beginning to regret the name a little bit. Stuck with it now. Let's see what's going on. Even the true news. Truths. Putin, West in new Cold War. Putin pictures with his top off, a mistake he made once. I don't know why he did that. I mean, that is real overt masculinity, top off behaviour. Unless you're in sort of like in Britain, the first flicker of sunshine, in which it's like, you know, any small town, everyone will whip their top off. But I suppose the way it's been, he's got a fucking knife on him. I think what he meant when he did this top off thing is I'm not some pussy like politician with a tie on. I'll literally kill you myself. Like David Cameron, you wouldn't get this photo of him, would you? Like, right, I'm going into the Ukraine. I'm fuming. Right, so but what I read from this is
basically he's talking about how Putin projects masculinity and how he's like bit of a dictator, and he rants about how he doesn't like Putin for like literally almost 10 minutes here. Which I find very interesting, and how he sees like, oh, could there be a new cold? Which, this being dated 2014 is just surreal, I'm going to be honest, given what he talks about.
Professional person. Did you see me on Oprah Winfrey talking about drugs? Well, there were some things I didn't say because I didn't want to be rude, offensive.
But basically, this is him after he went on Oprah Winfrey. He decided to go on a 1.5-minute rant on his YouTube channel that went into depth about the war on drugs internationally and how everyone involved is a hypocrite and how the whole thing was a failure.
Or appear like a madcap weirdo from the fringes of society. Here are those things now. Do you know that the last 3 presidents of the United States of America have all admitted to drug use? The British Prime Minister, David Cameron, he won't deny drug use. They've all taken drugs.
They've all taken, Basically, this video is just like a 1.5 minutes of Russell ranting about how the war on drugs is hypocritical and a failure and everyone involved is stupid. Honestly, kind of based, I'm not going to lie. I mean, back in the day, he had a few based opinions. He wasn't much of a sellout. He was just kind of a druggy idiot. But he knew, what he did know, he had decent opinions on. So, what's interesting is, how did we get here? How did we get to 2020? where this is a video that is 11 and 45 minutes on the exact same channel as the past two videos I showed you of a hippie in Europe complaining about Putin. This is a video of that same man in his room in LA talking about how the Trump administration was spied on by Clinton, and how he's talking about the 2016 election and pro-Trump talking points that have been long dead, which I just want to let this play for a minute. I find it so interesting that, like, this is a thing that exists. Oh.
Hello there, you
Also, what an
5
intro.
million wonders. Glory be unto thee.
Just going to skip ahead a
Some
little bit.
serious blowback. Russell Brand's right wing. I don't believe in any of it. I don't think you're going to get any solutions from existing political systems. That's just to clarify. I also believe people should be able to identify however they want to identify, that we should all try to work together, that ordinary people should have the power to govern their own lives. I've done that video and why I'm not right wing.
Yeah, he keeps ranting about how he's not right-wing and then spews right-wing conspiracy talking points. It's a very interesting line to walk that a few pundits love to walk. I don't want to name too many names because I'm not a political pundit, and I don't want to drag anybody that I don't actually know. But I do know Russel Brand's retarded, and I know he fits that demographic perfectly of pundit who says he's not right-wing and talks about how he's like, I don't think any system is good. He's like a bit anarchist, but not quite. He's like blah, 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 but also like blah. And he like rides a fine line of you don't really know what he is, but he will rant about Hillary Clinton and conspiracy theories for 15 minutes and how Ukraine is America and NATO's fault and not Russia's, and how COVID is a conspiracy and Fauci's lying to you. But he's not right-wing, because he doesn't really define his political stance, you know what I mean? It's a very interesting line to walk, but a lot of people do it for some reason.
You can watch that.
For some reason, Russell Brand is the past year and a half. I mean, he's always been kind of political, but he's been dumb and distant with it, right? Just kind of like, war on drugs was bad. Putin's a bit of a cunt, right? This is something else. I do not know what the fuck Russell is doing. I don't know how we got here, what timeline we're in, but this man is deranged.
Again later if you want to. But I know that by saying stuff like this, people are going, you're not allowed to say that. Something you... Counsel John Durham continues to unravel the Trump-Russia collusion story, and his latest court disclosure contains startling information. According to a Friday court filing, the 2016 Hillary Clinton campaign effort to compile dirt on Donald Trump reached into protected White House communications. The filing relates to Mr. Durham's September indictment of Michael Sussman, a lawyer who represented the Clinton campaign while he worked for the Perkins Coie law firm. Mr. Sussman is accused of lying to the FBI at a September 2016 meeting when he presented documents claiming to show secret internet communications between the Trump organization and Russia-based Alpha Bank. So we did a video about this a couple of months ago, caused me all sorts of aggravation. We'll link to it at the end if you want to watch it again. But basically what it boils down to is someone said they had no links to the Clinton campaign. You can trust me, I'm just an honest bystander. Honest Sussman I'm known as. You don't want to trust like Trump. Do you work for Hillary Clinton? No, I've never met her. Hillary who? Clinton. Hillary Clinton.
This guy's fucking retarded.
What's that, Clinton? I've heard that name before somewhere. Hillary Clinton, do you work for? Oh, yeah, no, yeah, actually, if I remember now, yeah, I do, I work for her. In fact, told me to come. Oh, shit, I've said too much. Oh. The indictment says Mr. Sussman.
Yeah. Basically, this is 12 minutes of Russell Brand ranting about how Hillary Clinton's campaign spied on Trump's campaign and how the Democrats are sneaky little liars and conniving, and how Trump was the good guy, which... You know, but he's not right-wing. He's not right-wing. Not even a little bit. Nope. This next video is titled The Narrative is Collapsing. Which, wonderful title. Oh! And this video, The Narrative is Collapsing, is about Russell Brand talking about how because vaccines lose efficacy after half a year to a year, and you have to get booster shots and whatnot, maybe even a third or fourth round of booster, you have to continually get vaccinated so that it maintains its, effectiveness. Much like a flu shot, much like literally any vaccine, you have to get it more than once because it loses its effect after a while. Russell sees this as proof that the narrative that the vaccine works is collapsing, and how they're going to keep giving you vaccines, but they don't actually stop COVID. It's literally 15, almost 16 minutes of Russel Brand talking about how the vaccines don't work and they're actually not vaccine. This whole, but he's not right wing.
Studies showing the effectiveness of natural immunity. Is it time for us to redefine the term fully vaccinated?
Basically, he says natural immunity. So basically, he's like, I'm just a healthy person, so I don't need a vaccine because, like, I eat vegetables. I don't even want to entertain this video, sorry, but I did want to bring it up. I have a couple timestamps I wanna say.
This vaccine as fully vaccinated, but ignores these data and many other proof points of natural immunity protection. So it's saying that the US Centre of Disease Control perhaps needs to amend its assessment of what constitutes full vaccination. If by full vaccination you mean protected from carrying, transmitting or being infected by coronavirus, because that information, 90% effectiveness natural immunity, and this is by Johnson & Johnson, by the way, who manufacture vaccines, and one might assume therefore profit from vaccines, and therefore might assume...
I almost don't want to play this too long because it might send someone watching down a rabbit hole, but he's basically talking about how because vaccines lose their efficacy at a higher rate than your natural immunity would, that you should just get COVID instead of getting vaccinated, and that vaccines are stupid, which is a wonderful opinion to have. I love it so much. What a great, not right-wing, totally anarchist communist right here. Totally a good guy with good opinions who doesn't spin conspiracies for profit the way that Alex Jones does. Not even a little bit.
Decisions I'd make about my personal health or my family's health. It certainly doesn't lead me to make any suggestions about what you should do with your health. It informs me of one thing very clearly, though. This is a situation that's evolving. There is more information to be revealed, and we should be tolerant, patient, and open with people whose opinions differ from ours. If you're a...
I just wanted that quote specifically. Him saying at the end, so people with opinions like mine, people who believe that the vaccine doesn't work and that being anti-vax is like cool and that like natural immunity and whatnot is like totally good enough, and that you don't need to get vaccinated for anything. I don't hate me because my opinion's different, okay? It's just like a different political opinion. It's nothing to hate me for. I just don't think vaccines work. I don't know how I kind of do know how he got here. He's a retard who did meth and heroin, but also he was like a hippie, I think, socialist anarchist. Like he was like a semi-normal rocker kind of guy like a decade ago. Like kind of stupid comedian who'd hang out in a club and I don't know, but he wasn't like this, he wasn't harmful. Like, what the fuck is this, Russell? This is just a short I want to show, which is painfully pretentious.
If you don't understand why the mainstream media are pushing for a war between Russia and the Ukraine and how they benefit and who benefits, then you should watch our video on our main channel, just it's over there a little bit, where you will understand it. Yeah, we do just a nice little video where we explain what the reason for war is. Smarter than the average newscaster. Sorry about that impression, I'm starting to annoy myself now.
Just a painfully pretentious bit, about how you should come look at my video about the Ukraine-Russia war and how I'm the only one with the right opinion. I fucking hate this guy. Next up is that video about the Ukraine-Russia bit. Actually, this is literally exactly a week, 7 days before Russia invades Ukraine.
Hey, I'm Dave.
I don't give a fuck,
I've been
Dave.
using loose.
So, literally a week, February 15th, a week before the invasion, Russell makes this. This is why they want Russia war. Talking about the U.S. and NATO and the EU. Basically saying that the West wants Russia to go to war with Ukraine. That is what this video is about. Saying that they want a new Cold War so that the West can go to war with Russia again.
War! What is it?
I'll let it play
for
a minute, but it's just unbelievable.
The government. Let's have one then. You know I read
Business,
the
the
comments,
media,
right?
government.
Loads of you in the
Let's have
comments
one
saying,
then.
Russell, do a video on what's happening between Russia
Fucking
and the
retard.
Ukraine. Now, we know that there are complex relationships between Russia and America, historic Cold War and post-Cold War relationships.
You think?
There are complicated relationships at play between Russia and the Ukraine, obviously. And I reckon one of the reasons we feel like it's difficult to understand what's actually happening is because we know that the mainstream media benefits in terms of ratings and therefore in terms of advertising revenue from there being a war. And we know that the military industrial complex benefits from there being a war in terms of sales of munitions, arms and various other facilities. So how in such a complex machine of duplicity and obfuscation are we meant to understand the actual facts? Well, let's do our best in this video to break some of that stuff down. As 100 religious, social justice and veterans groups demand that President Biden stop escalating tensions over Ukraine, the White House continued to warn of...
Can we just say,
President
what
Biden...
fucking source is this? 100 groups demand that Biden stop escalating tensions over Ukraine?
The White House continued to warn of a potential imminent invasion. People keep saying this war's going to happen.
Yeah, this aged really well, Russell. We shouldn't be sending health and reinforcement troops to Ukraine just in case there's an invasion. We don't want there to be reinforcements on the Ukrainian border in case of a Russian invasion. That would escalate things. Because, you know, there's not going to be an invasion. Ukraine won't need those. And America's going to be the one to start it if we do that. This aged so well, Russell. This aged so good. You're so smart, and you always have the right opinion. You fucking idiot.
Wars in that. There's going to be a war Wednesday. See you there for a war. The tension shouldn't be escalated either, should they, by Joe Biden? Whatever you think of Joe Biden, and I read the comments, so I know what you think of Joe Biden.
Oh, God, his comments. Can we read Russel Brand's comment section for a minute? What a fucking fever dream. I've always recognized Russel Brand as a very intelligent and caring person. Thank you for trying to help people understand this formula that government and media constantly repeat every time they want the general public to accept an upcoming war, rather than use that. Oh my God. Rather than use that money to better the quality of life for people. Most people do not see the obvious because they want to believe that the government and country are always the good guys and the countries we invade are always the bad guys. Jesus Christ, Donna. I'm totally with you on your viewpoints, as we should cut blah, blah, blah. Who could imagine that Russel Brand would be one of the most trusted names in news? Oh my God, do you believe that? That is such a harmful belief. Do not ever say that again. I'm just gonna move on. This hurts. But the day of the invasion, he posted a video titled, "This Changes Everything."
Russia has invaded
Ukraine. An 18-minute video the day of the invasion.
Ukraine, and some politicians are saying Putin
I'm just gonna let
is
this
the
play
new
for a minute.
Hitler. Is it that simple, or did our own governments participate in this escalating crisis? Hello there, you 5 million awakening wonders. We're discussing war.
God, I hate that he
it's a
says
subject that
awakening
has to be
wonders.
handled
What a
sensitively,
fucking
particularly when
dumbass
it
name.
says, are foreign invasions always wrong against a sovereign nation? And does anyone have a moral
Are invasions always
and
wrong?
clarity to
Are there
cast
good
themselves
invasions? Let's
as
get into
heroes
that.
in a
Let's get into
conflict
that, Russell.
with this
All the
degree of
good
complexity?
invasions
Right
that happen.
Up front, the invasion of Ukraine, of our finances, or
the
the
funny thing is he
posturing of
barely has
apparently
sources in this
liberal
video.
politicians.
He has a couple,
who
but
are,
it's like
in
an
fact,
18-minute
using
rant,
legislation to enact
which
further
is
control.
insanity.
But we've already done a video about the financial relationship between many mainstream media pundits and weapons manufacturers and suppliers. We'll give you a link to that at the end of this. So one layer of complexity is the West will, in a significant way, profit from there being a conflict. That, again, doesn't vindicate the actions of Russia. This is not a simplistic take. I don't think a simplistic take is available. If there was, by God, I'd look for it.
I have a simplistic take. Vladimir Putin and his administration declared war on a sovereign nation with no provocation and has in the coming weeks declared numerous war crimes, such as bombing hospitals, holding workers hostage, and even fucking firing with explosives upon a radioactive power plant. The entire situation has been the fault of Vladimir Putin and his higher-up officials, his generals. This whole situation is fucked. What do you mean?
There is no moral high ground to be occupied by the main players on the geopolitical stage because all of them have such...
Ukraine. They didn't do anything wrong. Vladimir Zelensky.
entrenched corporate ties and such implicit territorial objectives that we can't trust them. Who's going to go to war for Boris Johnson going, oh, well, if Boris Johnson says that this is the right thing to do, who's going to go to war for Joe Biden? Oh, well, if Joe Biden says this is the right thing to do, any of them. How can you summons up enthusiasm? As I've said before, what kind of ideological Viagra would it take to get you
ideological Viagra? This guy thinks he's smart, but he's such a fucking moron. Holy shit.
Poor.
Yeah, this was all a ploy to get Ukraine and Georgia to join NATO. This was all a ploy by Westerners so that we can get more oil rigs onto the Black Sea and the This is just a ploy by America to get more oil rigs into Eastern Europe and to steal Russian gas exports. That's why all this happened. It has nothing to do with more local problems and Putin just being a little fucking bitch. It has to do with Biden and oil and ExxonMobil and the cabal, obviously. This whole thing is just a fuckwad quoting other fuckwads saying some bullshit. Here's a video where he uses Ukraine in the title to not really talk about Ukraine and just talk about cryptocurrency and how it's... He basically uses this as an excuse to talk about how, oh my god, how crypto scams are being cracked down on in, I think, Canada. There's like new laws being placed and crypto scams being like legislated against so that you can't, run a Ponzi scheme through a cryptocurrency. That's,
Thank God for
basically, there's been reasonable regulation on the crypto market for the first time in, I believe, Canada. And this video is where Russel Brand uses Ukraine in the title to distract and clickbait so that he can talk about Bitcoin and crypto, which is fucking disgusting. Let me just say. What a fucking menace to society this man is.
Cryptocurrencies, a way that people can trade outside of a scrutinized, centralized, corrupt financial system.
Ooh, yeah,
which is why the world's governments are shutting it down.
No, basically, yeah. I don't even want to watch this video. I don't even want to watch this fucking video. This video is Russel Brand clickbaiting with Ukraine in the title and then not talking about Ukraine even once, simply talking about how you can no longer run Ponzi schemes in Canada through cryptocurrency, which is a good thing, by the way. This fucking guy.
The war in Ukraine is solely a Russian abomination with no other component to it. It certainly isn't a resource war with embedded corporate powers. And to even contemplate that makes you a fascist. Hello there, you 5.2
Can
million
we
shimmering
play that
souls
quote
on a
back on
journey
the
of
live
awakening
screen so
together
that y'all
with...
can see it in its full glory? What a fucking intro to a video that is.
And to even contemplate that makes you a fascist.
Okay,
Hello there,
Russell.
you 5.2 million shimmering
That
souls
doesn't
on
go
a
where I
journey of
thought it
awakening
was,
together
Russell.
with...
Oh my god, he tells you to subscribe in the first 20 seconds every video. It's disgusting. Here he quotes another ad. He has so many ads on his channel. I don't know how. This should not be monetized. Basically, yeah, this talks about how Ukraine is one of the largest oil and gas exporters into Europe, and how Russia is they're invading because, or actually the war started because they were starting to sell it to the West, and Exxon and these companies were opening oil rigs in Ukraine, and Russia had to go to war. They were threatened by the West, and it's the West's fault for having companies that operate in Ukraine. That's why this invasion is Biden's fault. Here's another dumbass short where he defends Russia and Putin. What a fucking clown. Holy shit.
That means nearly half of all of your taxes is military expenditure.
Yeah.
But do you know how in your mind you're like, yeah, but good, the military, they're protecting us. And by the way, let me tell you that I respect a great deal of people, individual service people that are willing to dedicate their lives to being in the military. I know what kind of background you come from. I know what kind of goals
Do you
have.
now?
There's
Do you now?
patriotic support of the country you believe in and have faith in. And I
is that what
respect
it's like?
and honour that.
Was that what
But
the Vietnam
a
vets
significant
had?
amount of this military spending, it's not
Really?
going into the pockets of soldiers and men and women that are fighting wars and to make sure they've got good kit or, heaven
Budweiser, ladies and
forbid,
gentlemen,
good
it's keeping
care
me sane
after they've
through
been
this.
in combat. That's when it's okay to cast them out into the streets and to leave them littering your cities and towns. No, the money ends up with Lockheed Martin, Raytheon. Do you see a theme developing?
Basically, yeah, he's like, this war...
That means
basically,
nearly half of all...
oh my god. Basically, yeah, he spent the entire duration of the Russian invasion talking about how American companies are at fault and how American lobbyists should stop and how America's bad and it's actually all the West's fault and that Russia's actually... He hasn't said like one bad thing about Russia since the invasion started. Like, he said a couple in jest and then backtracked it. Like, is that the whole story?
Pushing for
I
digital
don't know if that's the whole
to be
story.
centralized.
Can we talk about what the fuck this man is wearing right now? Look at this man's attire. The cheetah fucking jacket with like the 90 Jesus necklaces that are all gold plated, not actually gold, obviously. Oh my god. Also his beard that only has a brown ring and then the rest is gray filler. I love that. Yeah, basically, I think that's it. I think that's all I want to watch. I don't want to watch any more of your fucking videos. Conclusion. Russel Brand is a fuckwad sellout who doesn't actually believe in anything. He's a fucking clown. He's a little fucking worm, and I don't respect anything that he does. Fuck Russel Brand. He's a stupid little idiot. And yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching the Russel Brand rant. I don't like Russel Brand. He's a moron.